So, amidst my technical difficulties, Zachary explained to Tavis about cognitive functions. So,
Right, right.
one thing that the cognitive function model tells us is that you have alternating introverted and extroverted functions. And so, for me, as a self identified ENTP, the cognitive function model would say I lead with extroverted intuition, and my second function is introverted thinking. And that would generally mean that I am somebody who makes a lot of messes. And, and anyway, uh, the uh, Zachary is uh, leads with TI, introvert thinking, and second with NE. He and I have the same cognitive function, same 4 of the 8 possible functions. So I originally thought to myself, maybe you were an INTJ because of a particular verbal habit that INTJs have that you displayed briefly at the beginning, but was probably just nerves. Which is INTJs tend to sputter when asked to make a quick 90-degree change in direction mid thought. They really
See
don't
now,
like to be interrupted.
right. See now, I will clarify for one thing because there is a slightly different case with me here that's going on that has to be taken into account. I have diplegic cerebral palsy, so some of the stutter and break in my speech is due to that.
Okay.
So there is that variable we have to throw in there.
Right. Well, I only heard it at the beginning, and then you stopped doing it, which made me think, okay, well, that was just a nerves thing, you know.
He's got
Um,
True.
FE in his stack. He's got FE in his stack for sure. When he first joined in the meeting earlier, and we were talking, he smiled along with us when we were laughing, even though he didn't know what we were talking about. That's an FE thing. That's an extrovert
that
thing.
is that's FE. That's true.
So he's got
That's a
FE
good
in his stack for
observation.
sure.
That's a slick observation there, Zach. Um, do you? I mean, obviously, you're interested in abstract models and psychology and stuff like that. Would you consider yourself more interested in ways in which some models can be established as correct and others incorrect, or you look more interested in ways in which you can find holistic, synergistic truths in which you find the elements that are correct of each model?
You broke up a little bit there, so I didn't hear the very end of your question there. What was that?
So basically, I'm asking you if you prefer exclusive or inclusive truths. Would you prefer to find ways in which certain models can be falsified and eliminated as possibilities, and have other models be exclusively accurate and some models be exclusively inaccurate? I mean, exclusive of each other. Or would you prefer to find holistic truth kind of things where you find elements of each model that are true and work together and coordinate into a larger truth kind of an approach?
From a psychology standpoint, I would definitely say a little more holistic. From my own personal day-to-day life, I'm much more of a find the ones that are the truths and keep those while ruling out the others.
Okay. If I were to ask you, introverted thinking is what I would call a conditionality driven way of approaching thinking rather than a causality driven approach of thinking. So, extroverted thinking is an approach that prefers to come up with a single plan or protocol that will solve the problem because you figured out some mechanism within it and able to use your thinking to execute a plan or protocol that will address something directly. Introverted thinking is more conditional. It wants to consider all the different possible uh, conditionality chains to test things internally for consistency with other models. And it's less interested in the actual execution of it. Which do you prefer?
I would say probably the first. I'm more of an extroverted base of thinking. As much as some of the introverts sounds like how I do things, the end result's more extroverted.
Okay. Um, for do you? How tidy are you? Does your garage look like my garage, or something better than that?
That I'm when it comes to organization and school supplies, I'm very organized. If you want to call that organization clean, I would say no.
Okay, but you're organized with your schedules and stuff like that.
Very much so, yeah.
Okay.
Let's put
Um.
let's put it this way: I could find my way through the stuff you could not.
Okay. Right. Well, Zachary, I'm going to disagree with your FE here. I think he's got TENESI and FI, but I don't. But is that what is that? I don't even know what that is. Is that a possible combination even?
Oh, you said TINEFI?
No, I say TENESIFI. Let me look at the paper here.
This is really neat for me because normally I'm the one doing the reading of people, not having people read me. I'm rather enjoying this.
Yeah, let's see if we get you right or not.
Maybe an ISTJ?
Let's see here.
An ISTJ, but
ISTJ, is that what that is? Let's see. SITEFINE. So if it's ISTJ, then it must also be E. It's also ESTJ. So ISTJ or ESTJ. Do you think you are? Let's see, but I think he's ESTJ. So I think. Do you think you're more introverted or extroverted?
Definitely more extroverted than I am introverted, to be entirely honest. Prior to getting my service dog a few years ago, I would have said I was more introverted, but now I'm definitely more extroverted.
The reason I think ESTJ is because I think TE is higher in the stack than SI. Let's read some ESTJ stuff and see if you identify with that. ESTJ. It's called the model citizen. Are you a model citizen?
Um, by whose standard? Oh my goodness.
Well, I mean,
would you see yourself as a competent leader, Tavis?
I think other people can lead better than I can, but if I need to, I can step up.
are you more interested in philosophy stuff or about some cool mechanism that has a bunch of levers and stuff in it?
Philosophical. That's for sure.
I'm worried about the SI. I think he's an intuitive type Eric because I've talked to him about psychology stuff before. I think that, and also he's a writer, and I feel like not to imply that censors can't be writers, but I feel that intuitives are usually drawn to it because it gives them an outlet to efficiently express their ideas.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
let's see. Okay, so then we'll see. Okay, at that point, then we're left looking at. Oh, okay. I mean, let's ask him some more questions. Have you have you ever? Are you familiar with the troll question?
Oh, I haven't
What was
asked
that?
him.
Let's ask him the troll question.
Okay.
Zachary, you want to ask him the troll question while I do a little business here?
All right, what's
So
the?
you so I'm gonna propose this problem to you, and it's sort of like a there's no wrong answer, of course, but just make sure you vocalize the processes that you're using in approaching the issue, right? So vocalize how you approach it. So there are two pieces of land, and they're part of they're two pieces of land. They're connected by a bridge, and it's part of a village. It's a village, and underneath the bridge is a river. And on one side of the village, all the food is grown that feeds everyone in the village, right? Well, miraculously, the bridge collapses, and in its place, a troll appears in the river, and he demands a 10% food tax if someone is to bring food across the river. He demands 10% food tax. But if you don't have food on you, he knows if you have food on you, but if you don't have food on you, then he doesn't demand any tax, and you can move back freely. You're the leader of the village, so you're deciding on this. Now with the food, you only have enough to feed everyone, and you can only feed everyone if you don't pay the tax. If you pay the tax, some people are going to die. So how do you approach dealing with the issue?
Do I have an alternative when dealing with the troll?
Define alternative.
Can I get rid of the troll?
You can do anything. You're the leader of the village.
Well, see, I have a slight issue with oppressive. Not that I have problems with authority, but I have issue with oppressive people. So, first, I think I would weigh out the dangers to the village if I were to try and get rid of the troll. What would be the cost if I was able to get rid of him, and what would be the costs if I left him there. If I could not get rid of the troll and I was forced to carry out this task, or the tax that is being imposed, it would almost turn into a the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few kind of situation. On top of that, as cruel as that might sound, people can survive up to a week without food. So, but then again, food might not be that easy to access. You might not be able to do it weekly. I highly so dynamite and explosives is not an option in this one. I take it.
What do you plan to do with the dynamite?
Blow up the troll.
Well, you could. I'm giving away one of the strategies here, but one of the interviewees we had on before amassed a militant group of sorts and went and eliminated the troll and scavenged his body to see if it was safe to consume. So that's one way in dealing with it, I suppose.
See, the problem I have is the troll is effectively making it so in the long run, and then here's my thought process: if we submit to the troll long enough, you've given it a sense of control over you, and eventually it's not going to be a 10% tax; it's going to be a 20% tax, a 30% tax. It's just going to keep going up because he knows he can do this. He knows he's got the edge on you because you've got to feed the hungry people. So the primary thought process and need for me would be to maybe, over a short period of time with minimal sacrifices, amass some kind of plan to get rid of the troll. And in turn,
are you gonna scare him away with fake ghosts like in Scooby-Doo?
Oh no, he's gonna die.
Oh, you're gonna kill the troll.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know he was an endangered species? Because when you go to kill the troll, here's what happens. Some protesters show up. They're at the side of the river. They've got their signs. They say, you can't kill this troll. It's an endangered species. Don't kill the troll. We're going to be super mad. It's a bunch of ladies.
All I've got to say to that is they can take the troll and deal with it themselves then.
They run over and they steal your spear. And they break it. And they throw it in the river.
Then I killed them and used their bones.
You killed the ladies. Now everybody's gonna get you and put you in jail and hang you. If you kill the ladies.
It's a tribe, not a town. We haven't specified a law system here.
Well, okay, but it's like the most badass guy in town's wife is one of the people who's opposing the killing of the troll because it's an endangered species.
Well, it's nice that he's one of the most badass guys in town, but 3 or 4 guys that know what they're doing, as opposed to the one badass guy, could probably manage to take him
Okay,
out.
well, all the birds are starting a civil
And he has to
war
stay
here. You've got
beside
about half the town on your side and half the town is on their side. And somebody finally says, "Dear Lord, won't you please come up with another solution besides killing the troll?" And then everybody looks at you and they're like, "Hey, that
you
person's
didn't-
right. You need to come up with another solution right now." Everybody points at you.
Here's the thing: you didn't specify that the women that showed up were necessarily from the tribe. You just said the one woman was.
Well, you shouldn't have assumed they weren't. That was foolish of you. You put your own life at risk. You put your life at risk. You put the peace and stability of the whole nation state at risk. You almost started a civil war. Now I suggest you come up with another way of killing this troll.
I also haven't clarified whether this tribal setup is a democracy or a tyranny here. Because if I'm in control,
it's an anarcho-capitalist society. Okay. It's an anarcho-capitalist society, and right now, these people are accusing you of a rights violation for attempting to attack this troll, and that would make your own rights forfeit under this society.
At this point in time, then fine, they can forfeit the rights for me. When they starve, I'll sit back and go, you know what, I was right. You guys didn't listen.
They're gonna forfeit your rights, or so you say, "I'm just not gonna deal with the troll anymore. I refuse to come up with any solution now." Then is that what you're saying?
The other solution would be. Because as I was telling Zach here, the issue is I have a problem with the tyrannical nature of the troll.
Well, so does everybody else on both sides of the river. We all have a problem with his tyrannical nature. He's trying to steal their fucking food.
Right. So, due to that fact, I would think that.
I like the fact that you pointed out earlier. I liked before I turned my camera back on. I put my earphones in first, and I heard you mentioning the fact that part of the problem with paying the troll is that it normalizes and legitimizes the behavior of paying taxes to a troll, and that then he will increase the taxes forevermore. That's a good point. That applies to so many other things besides trolls.
Oh yeah, there's all kinds of political discussion to get into.
Yeah.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so basically you're continuing to evade coming up with any alternate solution.
Alternate solution would be, well, the conditions with which the troll are living in are probably not the best. So you could attempt a treaty of kinds with it. Maybe turn the troll into a form of protection for the village, make it so that the food quantities were larger if he was willing to, I don't know, help cultivate.
Yeah, I like that solution. You're gonna make him a sharecropper. Now the protesters are protesting your sharecropping plan. Don't make the troll a sharecropper.
Well, see, at that point in the time, I have the troll on my side, so the troll's just gonna go smash the protesters.
The troll's like, okay, enough, you guys, enough. Alright, fuck it, I'll go to some other town. I don't care anymore. Stop with your protests. Oh, well, anyway, that's good. It's interesting. I like how stubborn you were. That suggests a lot of NE there. I mean, we might be looking at another INTP here, Zach. I don't know.
So?
Well, I don't know. It's hard to say. He doesn't. INTPs are always tricky because remember, you guys don't like to reveal your true depth right away.
Mm-hmm.
Unlike the ENTP who wants to come in guns a-blazing. Look how smart I am! You know, the INTPs, they go in like, I'm going to surprise you when you're not expecting it. When you try to get too smart, when you try to get all smart on me, I'm going to go, pa, pa, pa!
So
I like that.
That's probably due to my upbringing, though. My entire family's like that.
Well, you know, Zachary's family's not like that.
Well, Zach's unique.
He's just an INTP. He's a
Pretty.
particularly interesting backstory to INTP for sure. But you'd be surprised how much the various types of people are like each other if they manifest as sort of a similar degree of what one might broadly call, though I hate this expression, health. You know, like if you're not all fucked up because you got abused or something like that, right? That's going to affect a personality such that it's not going to be representative of any particular type. But if you had a more or less okay childhood, then I think different types. I mean, they tend to be like each other. It's just that types like you say your whole family's like that. Is everybody else in your community like that too?
No, very much not. Very much, no, not at all.
Would you say your type of person represents no more than about 10% of the population of your community?
I'd say less than that.
Okay, well, that's called being an NT. Welcome to the club. That's about the population. We're 25% of the types, but only 10% of the population. And it's all the people that you feel like you can talk to, and you start talking about abstract shit, and they're like, oh, that sounds interesting. And then they actually engage with you about ideas instead of about how they felt that one time when they were watching that one television show, and it really made them go, ah, you know?
Yeah.
Those people are the NTs of the world, right? And there aren't very many of us out there, but we really should. It's nice to be able to find one another because for a lot of people, especially if you're not living in a big cosmopolitan, metropolitan area, then you might not encounter a whole shitload of people that you can really talk to, you know?
No, you really don't. I've lived here for 8 years. I did not grow up in this area, and it's driven me nuts.
Where are you exactly? Kentucky?
Try growing up in it. Yeah.
I'm originally from North Carolina.
Well, look, I think it sounds cool being in the South and having an accent and stuff, but I guess it probably isn't as neat as it sounds to me. Living in California, it sounds really cool down there because it's like real America, you know?
Well, see,
That's one way to put it.
I would say that it depends upon the area.
That's true.
Wise.
Nashville is probably pretty nice because it's got a lot of money, right? Or more money than like Poorsville, Kentucky.
Yeah. See, I grew up in an area that was Roxborough, North Carolina, and I grew up in a very southern proper environment, to the point that when you were old enough to be with the men in the societal groups, one of the older men made a comment like "lady present," and all conversation which would have been otherwise offensive stopped, and if it didn't, you got your butt handed to you.
Right. Well, you wouldn't
When
want
you
to.
say Southern proper, I imagine some scenario in which you have to eat you're eating your cornbread and soup beans, but you can't put your elbows on the table or some shit.
Oh no,
like
not that proper, not that proper.
You have to like okra.
Oh,
I don't really care for that too much.
Who does like okra? Okra is fucking slimy and gross. Do you like okra? Well, I don't like it.
so what are we thinking? Is he an NT? Would you say he's an NT?
Well, I mean, when he's talking about feeling different from the majority of the population there in that way, that suggests NT to me. You know, if that was your experience in general, was you felt part of a minority of people who actually talked about ideas. A lot of people didn't really want to talk about those kind of ideas. There a lot of stuff that the majority of the population around you, found as particularly entertaining. You never quite understood the point of it. Like, well,
I think it's important to distinguish ideas, right? So NTs, analysts, they enjoy discussing ideas, getting things out into the, I guess, they like to examine ideas almost from like an impartial nature, right? And examine the implications of certain ideas. Whereas like, and I think ENF types would view ideas as sort of like, I could see an INFP, for example, viewing like the talk of ideas, or having that same experience you describe, Eric, but
Yeah, you're right, Zachary. I'm failing to make a distinction here, which is intuitives in general are a minority. I forget what the percentages are. But NFs can often do bond well with NTs, and there's a number of highly
What's your view on
intellectual
morality,
NFs
Tavis?
too. You know.
What is my view on morality? Okay, do you want my... I have two views on morality.
Let's hear him.
Which do you want first? Do you want the personal view, the religious view on morality, or the humanitarian view on morality? Which run very closely together, but are still slightly different.
Let's go with the second one first.
Okay, the humanitarian view on morality. I would go as far as to say that whatever that is best for the society should be done. But in a societal standpoint, you must also consider the world around you. Because just because it's good for one country doesn't mean we need to end up with another Holocaust. If that answers anything.
What about domestic policy? I mean, do you think that the good of the majority should be prioritized over the rights of the individual?
Um, it depends upon the situation, but I would go as far as to say yes.
So when do you by what principle do you determine when a rights violation is justified?
When a rights violation is justified, are we talking like what kind of rights here? Are we talking constitutional rights? Or are we talking
Natural negative right, the right to non-interference. We each own our own body, right?
right?
All rights come from that. The property, the only right there is the property right, and you have property rights to your own body and property rights to the property that you attain.
Okay, I would say then that the only time that that becomes okay to necessarily take that away is when you become a danger to the rest of society.
So you're opposed to all taxation?
No, because it's necessary in some areas.
But that
But
violates that contradicts what you just said.
how so?
Well, if my property is my property and is sacrosanct and not subject to interference by except insofar as I have made my own rights forfeit by violating the rights of another, then taxation is not justified.
Well then, considering I am a constitutionalist and it's not constitutionally, legal, I would then say yes.
Well, it is as of the 13th Amendment.
Well, yeah,
I mean, surely you agree the Constitution is amendable.
yeah. Well, yeah.
I mean, I don't like taxation either. I think the 13th Amendment is garbage. But I would question why you would initially position your values as driven by the end of what is good for society rather than the means of a principled methodology for adjudicating disputes.
Because the end result is ultimately what we end up with, as opposed to the means. The means may seem good at the time, but at the end of it, we end up with millions dead.
How accurately can you predict the future?
Yeah, and with that kind of situation, when you're making decisions like that, you have to take the chance, I suppose.
But why would you want to take the chance in choosing a means that you know is rights violating on the chance that it might produce negative outcomes when you can go with certainty with a non-rights violating means and deal with the reality that the future is unpredictable?
See, now if I can go with certainty with a non-rights violating means, I could see the relative.
Well, you can't get certainty from either side. You can't get certainty from either side. That's the point.
Okay.
So why would? But you can't get certainty about whether it's rights violating. You can get certainty on that, but you can't get certainty on the outcomes.
With that in mind, I suppose I would go with the non-rights violation. Then I would only go with the rights violation if it was absolutely necessary.
Well, that makes you remarkably subject to reason. Yeah,
You
well,
it's a good or bad thing is the question.
I mean, it depends. The thing is, I'm making really sound arguments at you, but it's hard for me to say whether it's a good or bad thing because it depends how responsive you'd be if I were making unsound arguments, right? I can make unsound arguments too that would probably sound good in a different meaning of the word sound, you know?
Yeah, right. See,
Arguably subjective reason is fucking hilarious.
yeah.
Do you plan to vote in this presidential election?
I do. Maybe.
Who are you thinking about voting for? You're gonna say Bernie Sanders. I know you're gonna be Bernie Sanders, huh?
Actually, I don't trust really any of them, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna go for the lesser of all evils that I can find. Because I do hold a constitutionalist standpoint, I'm going to go with the candidate that best upholds that constitution.
Gary Johnson?
What was that?
Gary Johnson?
I've never heard that name before in my life.
Well, that's the libertarian candidate.
Okay, well I guess that's probably why I haven't heard of them.
Well, he's the one who best upholds the Constitution. How can you say your framework is whoever best upholds the Constitution and then not pick Gary Johnson?
Well, see, I can say that's my framework, but I can't lack knowledge here. I'm not infallible.
That's true. Okay, that's true. My bad. That's absolutely true. And obviously, that's what happened here is that you're just not really aware of the libertarian candidate. Like a lot of people aren't. You know, they never get more than 5% of the vote, right?
Yeah, right.
I'm one of those 5% every time though.
So previously, okay, who before Gary Johnson was brought up, who did you identify as the primarily aligned with your constitutionalist views?
See, it's really tough because
Okay, well, first of all, like we will judge your decision, but it's not like on the value of personal, like you're safe. Is what we're saying.
Yeah, it's totally safe. No matter whatever.
I don't need safe zone.
You could be saying I want the Muslim Brotherhood as a president, and you'd still be cool with me. I'd mock your ridiculous notion, but you'd still be totally cool with me. So Zach's right to point that out. Good thinking there, Zach.
To be honest, I'm still on the fence with pretty much all of them. And to say who exactly I'm going to vote for yet, I probably don't know.
It's next month, man. You better be deciding soon. We only got a few more weeks.
It's only got a few more weeks.
What are you registered as?
Right now I'm registered as a Republican, I think.
So which of the Republican candidates are you gonna vote for if you're gonna vote in the?
Not Ted Cruz. I don't trust the guy. I'm not too fond of Trump either, but I would rather have Trump over Ted Cruz.
I'd rather have Bernie over Hillary. How do you like them apples? I'd rather have Bernie over Hillary.
I would agree with that.
Are you justifying right violation right now, Eric?
I'm just saying, if I gotta pick my school of rights violation, I'd rather have Bernie over Hillary.
I agree entirely.
If I gotta pick one of those two, because this is why Hillary's good at it. She's well practiced and good at bureaucratizing rights violations. It's like her life's ambition. And it's the only thing she knows, right? No matter what the country's problem is going to be, she's going to be like, well, let's find some rights to violate. That'll be a good solution. It's always worked before. No, it has never worked before, you stupid bitch. Yes, it has. I'm sure it has. I'm in Washington. Everybody's telling me it's great.
Well,
I've been here for decades.
I could make the comment that this woman couldn't successfully manage her own marriage here. We don't really need her managing the country.
Well, I don't care about her fucking marriage. Bill Clinton couldn't manage his own marriage. He was a good president. He was mostly hands-off, right? I don't care about her fucking marriage. But what I do care about is her long history of being a bureaucrat. That makes her scum in my book.
Yes, I have a variety of issues with the Clintons and Hillary Clinton for sure. So I would definitely go with Bernie over her. That's 100% there.
Also,
What
I
do
don't
you think
think
about our? Go on.
you go.
What's up?
What do you think? What do you think about our college's political atmosphere, Tavis?
I find it
Too Republican, right?
really. See, that's what you see. And maybe it's because I don't know. Maybe we hang around slightly different groups of people. See, because I hear a lot of the Democratic side.
Yeah, I was just joking. There's like everyone's voting for Bernie, man.
Yeah. I would say that the political atmosphere around our colleges, and what it is with most colleges, and that's liberal arts. You know, it's a liberal arts college for a reason. The professors are primarily liberal. The students, therefore, being, in their own thinking, and it's been proven that most young college students are on the Democratic side and tend to be more liberal. So I would say we have a far more liberal basis than we do, Republican or otherwise.
Yeah, it's definitely dominated by by Democrats.
Yeah, just
A lot
talk to one
of,
of
lot
them.
of. Oh, really? Which one did you talk to? I would like to get. I want to eventually get Austin on here to talk about his anarcho-syndicalist views.
You'll have fun with that one.
I think it'd be very interesting to delve into that.
I can see our friend here looking at me and going, "Did that really just come out of your mouth?"
I want to get one of your fucking professors on here. I want to get your most liberal commie professor on here. Tear him to pieces. I mean, look, I want to get your most decorated professor with the most PhDs and master's degrees and various things following his name. I want to get him on here. And I'll rip him to pieces.
We could have gotten him on, but they actually fired him here recently.
Lester? Wait, so he did get fired for sure?
Yeah, they fired Lester, for sure.
Wow, I did not know that. That's three.
Was,
okay, that's 3 of my fucking classes now. One of them
right?
lost this. Bill fucking died on me, and now 2 of them, the professor got fired. What the fuck, man? That's such an inconvenience.
Why? Okay, wait. Your professor got fired. What did he get fired for?
Okay, the college, because of the issue with the community colleges in Kentucky, which you may have already talked about with Zach, is you have what they call, what's the name we give those students who only stick around long enough to get their checks and then leave?
I don't know.
Yeah, douchebags, I guess is what Zach's gonna call them.
Yeah, he's talking about the people who apply for financial aid.
Get the financial aid and then never show up again. Yeah.
Yep.
And then what? They spend their financial aid check or what?
Yep.
Yeah, well, they get like a financial aid refund, so they're eligible for a certain amount of money, which is then the cost of books and tuition is deducted out of it, and whatever is left, then the students receive directly.
Right.
And where does the money come from?
Government.
The government.
Oh, of course. Another brilliant government plan gone awry? I'm stunned.
So what ends up happening, and the whole purpose of even mentioning that, was these students do this routinely, where they get these checks and then never show up again. So the finishing rate for our college is actually dropping.
Like 12%, right?
Yeah, it's at 12%, where it was at like 15% last year.
And only half of those actually go to a university.
So the problem with this is it's caused a variety of, number one, you got to look at Kentucky's governor, who I'm just waiting to hear, Blackhawks coming over to my house now because of that comment. But you got to look at Kentucky's governor, who's causing a variety of budget cuts to our college systems, and the finishing rate within our college has caused severe budget cuts, which has then caused them to fire teachers because they are either getting close to retirement or they've got.
But you guys, free college.
And Lester Gordon.
But free college though. We need free college. Remember?
Who's gonna pay for it?
But the government will. The government's gonna pay for it because they got plenty of money. And you know who else is gonna pay for it? Those dirty, no good rich people. They don't pay enough in taxes.
Oh, that 1%. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh man.
I know that rich person paid $300,000 last year in taxes.
Yeah.
But he needs to pay more. If you're like a sports star and you make $1 million a year, like an NBA star, and so it's actually you're getting a salary of that amount of money, where the government really fucks you, then you're going to pay like $300,000 a year in taxes. And some people are thinking, those people need to pay more. Why would anybody need to pay anywhere close to $300,000 to stay in the United States for 1 year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why is rent so expensive here all of a sudden? Yeah. Are you punishing me for something? It's not me. I'm not paying anywhere close to that amount of taxes. But you know, I'm saying if I were a sports star or something and I made $1 million a year, I would be very upset.
Well, it's one of those where you're punishing effectively the people that have been successful, and I think one of the main issues with that is people think there's this idea, and I mean I would agree with it in some cases, that the establishment has taken too much control of our society, and that because of the bigger businesses, the small businesses,
Who's the establishment?
Bernie would say the 1%, probably.
Are they all in agreement? Are they all of one voice, fighting for the same thing in the same direction on the same issues?
That's what we're told. Do I agree?
But
with
why would that be possibly the case? Why would two corporations who might be in direct competition with one another have the same political interests?
All about the money.
But that's not exactly. If it's all about the money, then they're going to be in direct competition with each other. They're going to have conflicting political interests. Their interests are not going to be about anything except what's going to benefit their individual interests. Now, look, I'm not denying the fact that special interest groups are fucked up. The government shouldn't have this kind of resources to expend on things anyway. They shouldn't have the authority or power to put these kind of rules in place. So,
well, see, here's a question for you on the whole free college thing. This country is already what, $7 trillion in debt?
Wait. Sorry to cut you off. Do you think Austin's up right now?
I highly doubt it, but you could check.
Go on, sorry.
It's only 11 p.m., you guys.
Well, it's 2:17 for us. 2:17 a.m. for us.
Yeah, I know. Okay, continue.
But on the subject of that, we're like what, $7 trillion in debt right now?
Yeah, something like that.
How can we afford to give everyone in the country free college?
Well, I mean, if we manage to spend $7 trillion we couldn't afford already, what's to stop us from spending another $7 trillion? What's to stop us from just minting $1 trillion coin to pay for all this shit? Why not? It's within Congress's power. Now, that's something they could do that would be constitutional. They can mint their own fucking coins. It says so, right in the Constitution. They can mint $1 trillion coin tomorrow. They can spend it on whatever the fuck they want. And you know who has to honor it? The Federal Reserve.
Yep.
Because it's in the fucking Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
The Treasury has to honor it. The Federal Reserve has to honor it. And they can pay for whatever the fuck they want with their made-up $1 trillion. Don't steal my money. You can make it up. What the fuck are you stealing my money to buy that shit for? Why are you borrowing money? Why the fuck are you borrowing money to buy shit that we don't want or need when you can make up the money by just minting $1 trillion coin right now? Oh, well, because then that would cause inflation. Bullshit! It's fiat currency anyway. What the fuck do you think you're doing every fucking day? You're printing free money out of nowhere. Don't pull that shit on me, because Congress mints $1 trillion coin. That's going to cause inflation. But the daily business of the Federal Reserve is not going to cause inflation. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. That's how I say to anybody who disagrees with me on this point.
Okay, so Zach, to answer your original question, which was about the college atmosphere, I do think it is fairly liberal. I don't necessarily have a problem with that, but I would say it's fairly liberal.
Yeah. I don't know. I have pretty conservative views, and at the least fiscally conservative. And I don't know. I feel somewhat intimidated being public with that. I don't really share that much.
I will say, and for me, you know me, I'm the one that argues with the feminists in the middle of psychology class. So you know, it's I don't have any problem telling people my views.
ANTP.
What was that?
You got to be an ANTP. If you're the one who argues with the feminist in psychology class, you are an ENTP.
Which means what? Out of curiosity.
Well, it means that you're like me. You like to argue with people.
See, but that's not necessarily the case.
Of course it's not ENTP. Why else? What other possible fucking answer would an ENTP give to that accusation? Well, that's not necessarily the case. Here's various reasons why. Here's various reasons why the thing you just posed, Eric, is wrong. Many possible reasons why it could be wrong. I can think of several right now. Here they are.
What?
Well, that's a very ENTP response of you.
Okay, cool. I see your point. Oh man.
What was that one claim that the girl in our class made? The one.
Men don't feel emotions.
That's what I'm trying to say. Hey, that's what I'm trying to say.
I think it was the men who feel anxiety. It isn't driven by like sadness or something.
Right.
It's a pretty profoundly stupid claim.
Basically, her claim was that all men feel is sexual drive and anger.
Well, I don't know. I feel like that's kind of misrepresenting what she said. But
well, it was more anger than anything.
She said that anxiety was fueled by anger. That's what she.
Yeah.
See, you know what that is? I tell you what I think. I think that's FE one higher in the stack. Because the way he told it's a better story, right? You know? And for the ENTP where he's like, hey, close enough. Whatever. I mean, the thing is, it depends how careful you want to be with it, right? I tend to be careful if there's any sort of verifiability around, you know? I'm a little less careful otherwise. I'm not lying at any point. I'm not misrepresenting shit badly. I might leave some elements out, you know? Oh, it's mostly this. That's a qualifier that gives me a lot of wiggle room, right? And so, to a certain extent, he's going to be like, as iffy if I'm right about the typing, if he's ENTP, then he's going to be like, well, this is more impactful way to tell the story. This is the way the story is meant to be told. It's the intuition about how the story is meant to be told, you know?
I'm gonna agree with you. Yes, I am argumentative. I'll agree with that 100%. The reason I make the comment about the men being sexually driven is because in the context of the conversation, as you paid very, very close attention to her wording and her expressiveness about males, that definitely came across.
You're like that? You're like that, fucking Zach? See what that is right there? He's like, not only am I not getting called out on that shit, I'm just going to say, well, there's a whole inferential level here that we need to factor in as well, okay? There's a whole bunch of inference, Zach, that you're not taking into account, and there's a subtext here that you're not factoring in, and as a matter of fact, everything I said before, plus this new stuff. Perm, do both, I win. That's fucking straight up ENTP maneuver right there, my friend.
He's breaking up like crazy, but... So basically what I got from that is I'm talking myself in circles and I should just shut up.
No, you're rejecting the claim you're rejecting my claim that you were slightly misrepresenting what she said, and then kind of... I think that's what you were saying.
If I am misrepresenting it, then I apologize.
No, dude, no. Fuck no. Fuck no. Fuck no, you apologize. Fuck no. You attack. You say, no, you're wrong. She was saying that. I'm sorry you were too dense to pick up on the fucking subtext, Zach. That's the way you roll with that shit.
See, now that's not the way I work. I'm willing to admit error if I make it.
Well, sure, unless it's fun times. If it's serious.
See, but to me, the ability to admit error, the ability to sit back and go, I was wrong about that, is how you learn.
Alright, but to be perfectly honest, the way you do that in the best possible way is you still run through all your arguments. And I'm glad to hear that you're still fighting me. That's great. You run through all your arguments, and you make jokes about it to meta up a level like I'm doing right now, so that you still get to be right, and be serious, and have a good time, and nobody gets their feelings hurt. So if we got the camera on, sometimes people can see you're smiling, so they don't go like, oh, wow, 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 you know, as people do sometimes. And I'm sure you've encountered before. As an ENTP, we've all encountered that, I'm sure. And I think INTPs encounter it too, but they're a little more cautious than we are.
Your mic muted.
Yeah, your mic's muted. I can't hear you, pal. So, how did you? Just because I'm curious, how did you see that situation with her?
I thought it was a profoundly stupid statement. That's pretty much all I thought about it.
Come on, you had no further thought besides it was just a stupid statement. Come on, man. I know you're deeper than that.
He doesn't have the same battle lust we have.
You probably infer from that same battle lust. I guess you could infer from some subtext that was some like feminist type of ideology, something in the lines of like, and are driven by anger or some shit, or are incapable of feeling sad emotions.
Once again, I'm going to be proving Eric right here, and he's be going, haha, I pegged you. But, see, the reason I said that was something like men feel nothing but anger. It's a fairly narrow kind of, or at least an anxiety, it's driven by anger. It's a fairly narrow comment.
Oh, it's insane, but I think the thing about it is it's done for probably extroverted feeling reasons, you know? She's coordinating with the mood of the room. She's coordinating with the attitude that's getting her a certain kind of emotional feedback that she's enjoying, and so she's playing to that audience, whichever audience that is in the room, whether it's people sitting nearby her or the particular teacher or something like that, or at least attempting it. It may not even be working, but she's taking some sort of stab like that. It's not a serious intellectual position to hold, right? To say that men are motivated by nothing but sex and anger. Well, sometimes I'm motivated by contempt. Contempt for your bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
Like I am right now, for example. Is probably what I would have said, you know? I would have been like, can I be motivated by contempt for a bad idea? I think that would be the best thing you possibly said.
You can ask Zach when I posed a counter-argument to her. You should have seen the death glare that she gave me. If I could have been killed by a look, I was dead.
Would you say you triggered her, Tavis?
Yeah, I would say definitely I triggered her.
You penetrated her safe zone?
Yeah, and I like doing that to people. I love seeing that look of, oh crap, that person has a counter-argument.
I just hope you don't trod on the terrible ground of microaggression.
The sweet microaggression.
Alright? Because, people are very, 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 very fragile. And the slightest push will cause them to be triggered into emotional and spiritual collapse. So I want you guys to be careful out there. Well, it looks like we're all stopped talking. Okay, I'm going to stop the video.
Careful there. There was a little bit of sarcastic tone in what you were saying there, Tavis. I think, that's not very safe zone, Mike. I think that was a microaggression just now.
Stopping recording, and time stops now.